Hello and welcome to our Learn to Crochet kit. This is our pink strawberry can koozie. There is also a red version as well that has red yarn in the center, but I'm so excited for us to learn how to make this together. So what this contains is one tapestry needle, one 5mm crochet hook, one stitch marker, all the yarn that you're gonna need, a written pattern, and a QR code to this video. So when you open this up, you'll find exactly that. So as you can see right here, we have our white yarn for our seeds, our pink yarn for a strawberry base, and our green yarn for the top. We also have our tapestry needle right here, one stitch marker, and then this is our 5mm crochet hook. In addition to this, the only thing that you are going to need is a pair of scissors, but other than that, everything is included within this kit. So I'm going to start with our pink yarn right here. So this is what's called a cake. It is a little bundle of yarn with a center pull in it. So you'll be able to find whatever the end of the yarn is right here. And that's basically where you're going to start from. It's really, really easy to use cakes instead of balls, which is why I've included them like this. And you're just going to be able to continuously pull from the middle. It's honestly quite amazing. So the thing that you're going to need to start this is your crochet hook and your yarn. So quickly, when we're talking about our yarn, there are two distinct halves to it. So our working yarn is the yarn that goes all the way up and into our cake, while our tail end is the end that is cut off right here. So we are going to start off with a magic ring or a magic circle. Now, some people say that this is a little bit challenging to learn. In my opinion, you just have to do it like 5 times. And once you do it and understand it, it's really, really easy to do. I can do it in probably about 2 seconds. So what I want you to do to start this magic circle is have your thumb and your pinky kind of pinch together with the tail end of the yarn facing downwards and this working end coming up here, okay? I now want us to make an X. So we're gonna go and kind of separate our 2 fingers like little Spock fingers here. We're gonna wrap around and create an X. See that little X we created right there? We're then gonna flip our hand over. This is what it should look like. And I'm just gonna tuck that yarn in between my pinky. So you can verify this is what it looks like. We are then gonna take our hook side down. We're gonna go underneath the first one, over the second one, pull towards you, dunk down, and twist. So this is what it should look like right here. And the key to getting this magic ring nice and settled is actually pulling up just a little bit and giving yourself a little bit more slack. If it's too tight, it's gonna be a nightmare to pull through, okay? You are then gonna go on the top of this X that you've got right here. We're gonna go under, grab, and just pull through. Okay, and then you can kind of like seesaw it back and forth to get the knot all the way there. Now, how you can verify that you actually do have a magic ring is if you pull on this loop, your working yarn should be impacted. If you pull up, it should come a little bit towards you and you can pull on that working yarn there and the loop will get smaller. And the other thing is if you pull on this tail end of your yarn, your loop should get smaller on the inside here as well, okay? So let's do that one more time, just because practice makes perfect. And if you guys didn't get it the first time, that's totally fine. So I'm just gonna pull my tail yarn all the way to have a lovely base piece of yarn again. Also, cool thing with crochet is no one can tell where your mistakes are, because it's not like when you're painting where you have to like paint over it or whatever. You can literally just unravel this thing and no one will be the wiser. So same thing, we're gonna put our thumb and pinky pinched together with this yarn in between. We're gonna wrap around these 2 here. So I have an X right there. I'm gonna flip my hand over, tuck that in between my pinky. This is what we've got. We're gonna take our hook side down. We're gonna go under one, over the other, pull, dunk, twist. Give yourself a little bit of slack, okay? Go above that X here, above that X, and you're just gonna pull through that knot and give me a little wiggle there. Okay, gorgeous. So we have our magic ring and we are ready to start. Okay, so we have our magic circle right here. And what I want you to do is I want you to act like this tail end of your yarn and this side of your magic circle are like inseparable. I don't want you to split them. I want you to kind of keep them like they're one string together. And the first thing that we're gonna do when we start any of our rows is we're just gonna chain one. This just makes everything so much easier when you're trying to insert your hook into the next row. And also if you ever end up getting to a space where you're doing color changes or anything like that, it just basically kind of bumps up the start of the first row. So everything's nice and even, okay? So we're gonna do 6 single crochets in our magic ring right now. So how you do a single crochet is what you're gonna do is grab your hook, you're gonna insert it into your circle. You're gonna grab some yarn from the back, so you have 2 loops on your hook. You're gonna yarn over, which is just putting your yarn over the top of your hook, and you're gonna pull through both of those loops. And that is your first single crochet, okay? We're gonna do 6 of those, so 5 more. So we're gonna insert our hook, we're gonna grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, that's 2. Insert our hook, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, that's 3. Insert, grab some from the back, yarn over, 4. Insert, grab some from the back, yarn over, 5. Last one. Insert, yarn over, insert, grab some from the back, yarn over, and pull through. That is 6 right there. Boom. Okay, so the cool part about this magic ring is you can grab the tail end, right? And we can decrease the size of our little loop and pull it nice and tight until it is a circle. So this is where that chaining one at the start just becomes like a lifesaver, because I swear trying to insert your hook into the first stitch when you're doing a magic ring is very hard if you don't chain one. So we're gonna do what's called a slip stitch now. So we are going to insert our hook into this first stitch here. We're gonna grab some yarn from the back, and instead of yarning over, we're just gonna pull straight through. And then we have our lovely 6 single crochets in our magic ring. So we can go ahead and count. So to count, what you wanna do is you wanna look at these little like V's. Each of those V's represents the top of a stitch. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's 6 single crochets in a magic ring, which is exactly what we want. Now, at the start of our row, we're always going to chain 1, okay? So now that we've chained 1, what we're gonna do, since we're moving on to our second row, is we're gonna pick up this stitch marker right here. This is really valuable to kind of just mark where our row starts and where we want to insert our hook. So we're going to go ahead and insert it into that first chain 1 space that we've created right there. And we're going to put it right here. Just lock it in just like a safety clip, okay? So we did our first row. We have our 6 single crochets in our magic ring, and we slip stitched into our first stitch. We also have a row count, which is that thing in the brackets of your written pattern of 6. So now we're going to do what are called 6 increases. So in order to build out the rows of your magic circle evenly, you need to add as many stitches that are in the center on each row. In order to add 6 stitches to the 6 stitches we already have, we're going to have to put 2 single crochets in each of our existing stitches right here, okay? So that's what an increase means. It basically just means putting 2 stitches in each of the existing stitches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into that first stitch that's almost hiding underneath that, our little stitch marker right here. This is our first stitch. So we're gonna insert our hook and do the exact same thing that we did last time, okay? So we're gonna insert our hook, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, and pull through. That is 1 single crochet. We need 2 single crochets to make an increase. So we're gonna do that same thing in that same stitch. We're gonna insert, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, pull through. Next stitch, we're gonna put 2 in this one as well. 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets. Gorgeous. We're gonna put our hook in the next one. 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. Gorgeous. Same thing all the way around. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Whoop. 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. One single crochet and 2 single crochets. Okay, so at this point, let's go ahead and count our stitches and see if we've gotten up to the row count of 12 that we have, okay? So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of slack and I'm gonna count my stitches. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Gorgeous. Okay, so we have all 12 of our stitches that we need for this row. So I'm going to pull my working yarn to get that slack, or to get that loop nice and tight around my hook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this stitch marker to the side, and we're going to kind of insert right, not in the stitch that the chain 1 is in, but in that first stitch right there, okay? So we're going to insert into our first stitch, not into the chain 1 space. And we're just gonna bring some yarn from the back and then pull through again for our slip stitch. And that is the end of our second row. If it's uneven and if you feel like some stitches are bigger than others, that just comes with time. Tension is something that is a learned skill. So if it looks like this and or if it doesn't quite look like this and your stitch sizes are kind of all over the place, that's fine. As long as you can count 12 of these little V's, you're perfect. So at the start of our row, we're always gonna chain 1 to get this up, okay? We're then going to take our stitch marker, and I'm actually gonna put it on our hook so we can just kind of insert into the same hook or into the same stitch the stitch marker's on. So if you prefer to do it on the chain 1 space or on your hook, that's perfectly fine. Let's try it on our hook this time. So our instructions tell us that we're on round 1, round 2, we're on round 3. So that means we need to single crochet and then increase. So that means we're gonna put 1 single crochet in, and then we're gonna put 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So this is again to add 6 single crochets to every round in order to make a perfectly flat circle. So we're gonna go from 12 to 18 in this round. So we're gonna insert our hook into that same space that's like right, not this next one, but you wanna go into the stitch that is our first one right there. So we're gonna go ahead and insert that into our first stitch there. We are going to yarn over, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over again. We have 3 loops on our hook. There we go, okay? 1 stitch. Our next one, we're gonna do an increase. So we're gonna do 2 single crochets in this space. Then we're gonna do 1 single crochet. Then we're gonna do 2 single crochets. And you're gonna follow that same pattern all the way around. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Same thing, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. So now that we've reached this point, we can go ahead and check our stitches. Our stitch count for this row should be 18. So we're looking at getting 18 stitches right here. So we have, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of slack on my loop here, and I'm gonna go ahead and count. We're counting almost just these little V's right here. If you want to just count by one side, sometimes that can be helpful as well. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and count our stitches. Now our stitch marker is in our first stitch right here, so it does look a bit weird. So this is actually our first stitch right here. This is our second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. So we're going to insert our hook again. We're going to pull tight, and then we're going to go ahead and insert our hook into that first stitch where our stitch marker is, okay? And then we're going to grab some yarn from the back, pull all the way through again. Gorgeous. So now we have 3 even rows that are creating a nice circle for us. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out of this one, and I'm going to put it down. We are going to chain 1 and head on to our to our 4th row right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the first way that we did it. I'm going to put my stitch marker in that chain 1 space. This is just what I prefer. It is truly whatever you prefer. I find it easier to count the stitches when it's in the chain 1 space, but I want to give you some options as well. So we are on our 1, 2, 3, 4th row. And our pattern says that we're going to do 2 single crochets and then we're going to increase. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So to go from 18 to 24, we're going to need to add 2 single crochets and then increase. So we're going to have 1 single crochet you're going to insert into your first stitch there, 2 single crochets, and then you're going to increase. So just 2 of those same single crochets in the same stitch right there. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then you're going to increase in that same stitch right there. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then you're going to double up in that same stitch. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, double up in that same stitch. All the way around. 2 single crochets. Increase. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then our last increase right here. Gorgeous. Okay, let's check our counts. You want to try and check your counts at the end of every row. However, it is a good indication that you have the right count if you end up with an increase in your last spot in the row. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and count. Our goal is 24. We should have 24 here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I have 1 extra. I have 1 extra stitch. So if that ever happens, you can just go ahead and pull out 1 stitch. It looks like I increased in this one actually. So let's go back. So I did an accidental increase. So all I have to do now is I pulled out my double there, and then I can just increase again. This is an imperfect art. You're gonna make mistakes, and it's really important to kind of check your work just to make sure that you can catch it when you do, and then the rest of your project won't be off. So let's do that one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Cool. That's where it's at. I could edit that out, but I think it's important to show you guys that like no one's perfect. And it's really valuable for you guys to just check, even if you think you're very confident in your work. It's pretty easy to kind of goof it up a little bit. So I'm going to pull this to the back, pull our little stitch marker to the back, and we're going to do our slip stitch. So we're going to insert into this top stitch right here. Dun, dun, dun. We're going to insert into our first stitch, grab some yarn from the back, and slip closed to create a lovely circle. So we're going to chain one again. We're going to grab our stitch marker from the back. We're going to insert it into our chain one space or on the hook, whatever you most prefer. And then we are on our first, second, third, fourth, and we're going to our fifth row. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and then increase. We're going from 24 to 30, and this is our last increase here. Oop, already did my chain one. No need to do it again. So we are going to go insert for 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets, and then you're going to increase. You're going to put 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 singles crochet, increase. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, increase. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, increase. One single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, increase. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and increase. So 2 in that last stitch right there. Gorgeous. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, you guys know the drill, we're gonna give ourselves a little bit of slack and we're gonna count our stitches. We should have 30 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Gorgeous. And that is exactly what we should have. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this tight. We're gonna insert our hook into that first stitch right there. We're gonna go ahead and insert our hook into the first stitch, grab some yarn from the back and pull all the way through for our slip stitch. We are then going to chain 1 per usual, grab our stitch marker from the back, grab our stitch marker from the back, and we're gonna insert it on that first chain 1 space. Insert our hook, pull it tight. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, we are now gonna go into what are called back post single crochets, okay? So we are now gonna go into what are called back post single crochets. It is abbreviated BPSC in our chart here. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna insert your hook, instead of underneath, you're gonna actually insert it from the back. So instead of going right here, we're gonna push through the back. Boom. We are then going to weave into the front here. So you should have 1 little post on the back here. So obviously this is why it's called back post crochet, because you should just be kind of looping around this back post right here. We are then going to yarn over. We're going to pull through. So we have 2 loops on our hook still. I'm just getting that last little string up there. and then you're gonna yarn over and finish your single crochet. So one more time, we're gonna insert our hook in the back. We're gonna push and weave to the front. So we have one post on the back here. We're gonna yarn over at the back, pull through, single crochet. And you're just gonna keep doing that all the way through. We wanna do 30 of these. So you can go ahead and count. So let's see how many we have already, and then we'll count together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going all the way to 30. Insert, insert, 5. Insert, insert, 6. Insert, insert, 7. Insert, insert, 8. Insert, insert, 9. Insert, insert, 10. Insert, 11. So I'm going to keep doing it alongside you, but I'm just going to add some music. Make sure you count all the way up to 30, okay? Okay, perfect. So we have reached 30 right now. So let's double check that and make sure that we are all good. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Haha. Okay, I suspected I added one more stitch there just because it felt like I went too far. So gorgeous. So I have 30. I just pulled out one of them stitches. And it is perfect. So we're going to insert our yarn right here and pull it tight. We are then going to do just as our usual. We're going to insert into our first stitch. We're going to grab some yarn from the back, and we are going to pull it all the way through, okay? And our usual, chain 1. So I'm now going to move my stitch marker. We're going to do this every single time. Once you get to a point where you can kind of like read the yarn, Well, you can actually do this without a stitch marker. And I prefer to do it without a stitch marker, but it's really helpful when you're first learning to kind of figure out like where the rows start and stop. So if you can take a look at the project, you can see that these stitches actually go upwards. So what we're doing is we created a nice little flat base here, and then we're making it so our project goes upwards so it can wrap around the can, okay? From row 7 to row 20, we're just gonna do 30 single crochets all the way around, slip stitch into your first. So I'm gonna do the first one with you, and then we're just gonna keep going around in the same way until we hit 20 rows, okay? So all it is just the same single crochet that we've been doing, okay? So I'm gonna insert my hook into our first stitch right here. We're gonna grab some yarn from the back. We're gonna pull to the same side, yarn over, 1, 2, all the way around, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, gorgeous. So we have our 30 stitches now. It's a lot easier when it's just all the way around, you can just count. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert into our first hook here, or sorry, into our first stitch. We're gonna yarn over, bring it from the back, pull through both loops, that's a slip stitch for the end to our 7th row here. So we're basically just gonna keep building this all the way up until we reach row 20. So you're gonna keep doing the exact same thing, 30 single crochets all the way around. And I will see you guys when you get back. I'm gonna do mine off camera. You guys can pause the video, do your 30 single crochets up to row 20, and then you're good to go. Okay, quick note, if you ever get to a point where your yarn is like not coming out anymore, it's probably just this bobby pin. I just use it to secure the cakes at the end so they don't unravel before they get to you. So you can just go ahead and take that out and continue crocheting. So when you hit row 20, this is what you should look like. So there should be some extra yarn left over. I made sure to include more than enough just because I have anxiety. I would not want you guys to have less than enough. So you can actually check your can koozie right here. I just have a little seltzer. You can pop it in and look at that stunning fit, right? She's so cute. Okay, so we are now gonna add the little strawberry frills to it. So I'm just on my 30th stitch right here. And what I'm gonna do to change my colors is I'm gonna insert just like our regular slip stitch, but instead of grabbing some pink at the back, I'm actually gonna grab some green. So your green should look like this. It might have a different color of tie, but that's just all the scrap yarn. So you can go ahead and cut off that tie for me and then find an end. So this is the end. So you wanna leave like a little bit of a tail, a little bit of room in there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of wrap this over your hook and pull through both. So that's the slip in your slip stitch, okay? And chain 1 just like usual. So since this is gonna be our last row, we're not gonna be using our stitch marker. That's just personal preference. If you wanna put it in, be my guest. So what we can actually do now as well is we're gonna leave a little bit of a tail, but you can just kind of cut off that pink yarn and pull it to the side so we have a little bit less that is going on right now in our field of vision. You can go ahead and take this yarn end and just kind of drop it in the center as well. I just find that's a little bit helpful. So we now have our chain 1 stitch here. So for this top, we're basically gonna create like little waves, little bumps that are gonna be the flower part, or like the little frilly part on the end of our strawberry. Leaves? I think I meant to say leaves. the leaves of our strawberries. So this is going to be, it looks a little bit more complicated than it is, but basically we're just gonna create taller and taller stitches and then come down and create smaller and smaller ones. So we are gonna start off with our tried and true single crochet. So you're just gonna do the same, insert your hook, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, and pull through. We are now gonna do what is called a half double crochet. It is abbreviated as HDC in our pattern. So what we're gonna do is before we insert our hook, we're actually gonna yarn over. So we have 2 loops on our hook before we insert it. We're then gonna insert, grab some yarn from the back. There's gonna be 3 loops on our hook. We're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 right now. Boop. There we go. So it creates a little bit of a taller stitch. We are then, all in the same stitch, we are going to do 4 stitches, okay? So we're gonna start off with a double crochet. So that again is a yarn over before you insert. You're gonna insert your hook, grab some yarn from the back, 3 loops on your hook. You're gonna yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're gonna yarn over and pull through 2 again. So see how these stitches are getting taller and taller? We're then going to put 2 loops on our hook. This is what's called a treble crochet. So we're yarning over twice before we insert. So we have 3 loops on our hook, not 2. 3 loops here. We're inserting into that same stitch, grabbing some yarn from the back, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through 2. Gorgeous. So see how tall that gets? That's exactly what we want. So we're gonna do that same treble stitch again. So we're gonna yarn over 2 times, insert our hook into that same stitch, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we've done our 2 trebles. We're now gonna go back to a double crochet. So that was our first one in this cluster. So we're yarning over once before we insert our hook, grabbing some yarn from the back, yarning over, pull through 2, yarning over, pull through 2. So see this wave that is starting to form? It's exactly what we want. Now this is the last part this is the last stitch that goes into this stitch right here. So we're now gonna do a half double crochet again. So yarn over once before we insert our hook, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops here. Now our last stitch within this little bracket right here is a slip stitch. So that's usually what we use to end our rows. So we're gonna insert, grab our hook here, grab some yarn from the back. I'm just gonna pull right through that loop. So this is our cluster. Now, does this start to make sense of why we're doing this? We're kind of just building up with taller and taller stitches and then coming back down. And you're just gonna continue this same thing all the way around until we have 6 petals or 6 leaves. So we're gonna do that same thing of doing a single crochet to start. We know that one, we've done that one, we love her. We are then gonna do a half double crochet. So we're yarning over, inserting our hook, grabbing some yarn from the back, yarning over and pulling through all 3 of these loops. We're then going to start our big cluster here. So we're yarning over once before we insert and we're double crochet. So we're gonna grab 1 from the back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to our tallest stitch. So we got 2 loops on our hook, inserting into that same one, grabbing some yarn from the back, yarning over, pull through 2, yarning over, pull through 2. Come on. And yarning over, pull through 2. Same thing again, 2 on your loop before you insert, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now our last one is back to a double crochet here. So we're gonna yarn over before we insert, grab some yarn from the back, yarn over again, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Starting to look good. Okay, we are now in the next stitch gonna do a half double crochet. So we are yarning over, inserting our hook, pulling some yarn from the back, yarning over again, pulling through all 3. And our final stitch in this cluster is a slip stitch. So we're just grabbing some yarn from the back and pulling through there. Gorgeous. Okay, so honestly, now that you know the slip stitch, magic ring, single crochet, increase, back post, single crochet, half double crochet, treble crochet, like you are very, very well set up. That's why I designed this pattern to have as many stitches that are basic that I could think of, because I think you're just gonna be bulletproof whenever you try and do something else here. So now that you've learned all of these stitches, you're just gonna be unstoppable, okay? So we're gonna start that cluster again. We have 2 petals, we're going for 6. So we're gonna do a single crochet here. We're gonna do a half double crochet. So we're yarning over once before we come in, grabbing some yarn from the back, yarning over and pulling through all 3. We're doing a double crochet. This is the start of everything going into that 1 stitch. And a treble crochet, 2 wraps around, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Same thing, 2 wraps, insert your hook, grab some from the back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're back to our double crochet, only 1 wrap around. You're still doing that yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Half double crochet in that next stitch, 1 loop before you get in there, yarn over, pull it all the way to the side, and a slip stitch, only 1 loop on your hook, and you're just gonna pull all the way there. See, I almost yarned over there. Almost did a single crochet. So halfway done. We got 3 of these little boops right here. We're looking for 3 more. Same thing here. Insert 1 single crochet, 1 of the half double crochets. If you find this too fast, feel free to go back and rewatch the beginning of this as well, if that's helpful, or like take a pause and maybe like do it on your own and then skip forward in the video. You're just gonna do 6 of these petals. It is the same thing over and over again. All these little petals and leaves are identical. But you can kind of start to see like what the trend is and how everything kind of fits together, right? Like I want you to come out of this tutorial being like, that makes sense. Like I don't want you to come out of this tutorial being like, yeah, I have no idea why they did any of that. Like that made no sense, right? So like I'm teaching you how to do everything in a way that, you know, like allows you to go in to your next project with some more empowered learning. Not just telling you what I do, but telling you why and how I do it. Okay, slip stitch here. We are on to our last petal / leaf. All right, so we have 5 here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so we're gonna grab our yarn, last one that we're doing a single crochet. We're doing a half double crochet. All in the same stitch, we're doing a double crochet. We're doing a treble crochet. We're doing 1 more treble crochet. And we're doing a double crochet still in that same stitch. Half double crochet in the next one. Slip stitch. And actually to finish this off, you are gonna do 1 more slip stitch right here into the first row of our green. And that is it, at least for the crocheting part. We got some sewing to do, but this is the crocheting done with our little can koozie. So I just think it's like so freaking adorable when you put your little can in here and it just looks like a little strawberry. It just looks like a little strawberry can. It's very, very cute. I am quite in love. This is like version 7. Like this is the version that I really do think is the best one. And it's the one I'm giving to y'all. So we can go ahead and take our lovely grapefruit seltzer out of here. And what we're gonna do now is we are going to what's called weave in the ends. So we're gonna take our tapestry needle or our darning needle. It just has a blunt tip on it, so it's not very like stabby. And then it has a large opening in it. So you're kind of able to thread thicker yarns through, and it's not kind of like thread size. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna pick a yarn to start with. I'm going to start with this green yarn that is on the outside here. And you are going to insert that into your needle. And you're just gonna kind of pull through so you have a little bit of end left. And so this doesn't slip out quite easy. So now basically all you're going to do is you can do this as randomly as you would like. We're just gonna kind of like push our needle through our yarn and through the same color yarn, right? Like this is our green yarn. I don't really want to weave this in through the pink because that would look a little bit weird. We're trying to make this end invisible while keeping the project secure. So if this end comes out, right, then my whole project could unravel. And that's like a big mistake that I made when I was starting. And I feel like people didn't emphasize enough that I was watching was the fact that if you don't weave in your ends properly, or if you don't leave yourself a long enough tail, like it's pretty easy to unravel, especially when you're dealing with stuff that gets like a lot of wear and tear, like clothes. So if you decide to make, you know, a top or some pants or something like that, long tail on here. So basically my kind of golden rule is back and forth 3 times and then up and down. So I went back and forth. I went 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to go up through this project here. And then I'm going to go down through the project as well. And then that is kind of good enough for me in terms of security. I think that that is very secure. It's not really going anywhere. So we're gonna take our yarn, and we're just gonna go ahead and snip it off. So that is our petal right there. So we're gonna grab another one of our green yarn. We have 4 in total to weave in, 2 pink and 2 green. We've done 1 green. Let's just finish off the other green. I like to kind of weave in separate areas so it doesn't look like a little bit, you know, weird and tight and uncomfortable on one area, and then just like kind of like double up on it for no reason. So we're just gonna keep going through, keep weaving. Again, this is totally random. There's no real like go into the first stitch and go into the second stitch, you know? You just kind of want to go back and forth a couple times, make sure you're hitting different stitches. This is just a really good way to make sure that your project stays secure. Now this tail's a little bit shorter, so it's definitely going to be a little bit of a challenge to get through all of those 3, but we're still going to try to do it. I even see some people just like leaving knots, and it's like I have had projects unravel that I've spent like 15 hours on. It's very sad. So weaving your ends properly is very, very important. And I'm just kind of stretching this out a little bit. I probably should have done a little bit more here so you can actually really see what happens when it's a little bit tight versus when it looks a little bit looser. So it's not the end of the world, but if you kind of stretch your project in between, it'll make sure that your yarn isn't really tightening up everything. So if you have a tail that's this short, what you're gonna do, because I did all my back and forth, now I need to go up and down. So I'm just gonna actually insert my hook first with no yarn in it. And then I'm going to take my yarn here and I'm gonna insert it while the hook's actually in it. This is so you don't have to have as long of a piece of yarn. Woohoo! So we're gonna pull right there. And then our last one, same thing, we're gonna go down, we're gonna grab our yarn. I might actually lose this yarn in this piece, which is actually, you know, not the worst thing because it's kind of the same as just cutting it off. Go here and pull through. So I have just a little tiny bit right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and snip that off. Gorgeous. Okay, so I have 2 more ends to weave in here before we start with our sewing. I can just go ahead and flip this inside out, and then I can just weave it in this way. If I flip it inside out, it's just a little bit easier to, you know, kind of get to everything. So same thing right here. I'm gonna insert this yarn into our hook. I'm gonna pull so it's tight. Twist and just kind of go back and forth. So also with this yarn and this particular stitch, since these are just single crochets, this is a little bit more fluffy, right? So it hides more, but there are some holes in here. So you want to kind of make sure that if you're not going, or that you're trying to go through like the middle of the stitches here, and then like not just like dunking all the way in and under, because they will start to show because there are gaps. So you can kind of just go right through the middle of those stitches. That would be perfect. So we've done our side to side. We are now gonna go up and down. Still trying to hit the middle of those stitches the best I can. Almost like twisting my fingers to get the yarn a little bit more pliable and to kind of work with me a little bit more. Helps with that blunt end of the needle to just kind of twist. Okay, there is my up and down. So I'm gonna do that same thing, cut off my yarn, and I'm doing the last one right here. So this is the beginning of our magic circle. So go ahead and pull it tight. We're gonna take our yarn, thread it per usual, and we're gonna do that exact same thing. We're just gonna weave it back and forth. Twisting it a little bit. Sometimes these magic circles can be a little bit tighter. That is totally fine. Same thing, we're just going up and under and over. So we did our side to sides now. We're gonna go up through these stitches and down. Same thing, just kind of putting it right in the middle, giving a little twist or rooney. And there you go. So we can go ahead and take our scissors and cut off this last piece. And there we go. So we are now going to add the seeds. If you decide that this little friend is your favorite and you don't even want to add the seeds, that is totally fine. That is your prerogative. But we are going to add the seeds right now. So you're going to take your white yarn. It should look like this. Again, having a little bit of a tie right here. You can go ahead and cut that off, making sure you don't cut the white yarn itself. Toss that over to the side. And our lovely little scrap pile over here. We are then going to thread our white yarn on this needle and pull through. So you're gonna pull through, it's gonna make your life a lot easier if you pull through till the point where it's almost like the two ends are kind of this far apart, right? Because with this long of a string, you're kind of going to be like pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling for forever if you don't kind of layer these up like this. So this just makes your life a little bit easier here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our right side facing out. So this is what our right side looks like. The wrong side looks a little bit fuzzier and it's got this like weird little bump right here. Those are just like the result of our back post single crochets. But our right side is out here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna enter from the inside with our needle to start at the top of one of these petals. It doesn't matter, you're gonna go around all the way, but we're just gonna pull until we have like a decent tail left over. So my tail is probably gonna be about that long. So I'm gonna have like that long of a tail. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna basically skip one stitch, insert our hook, insert our needle, and we're gonna go diagonally here. So you're gonna insert your needle and then pull all the way through. So we have one seed right there. So same thing, we're gonna insert our hook, insert our needle. I'm obviously used to saying hook. Insert our needle right here. And we're gonna go all the way over, just give us a little bit of a diagonal there. And we're gonna pull all the way through. So we have another seed right there. And these are completely random. So you can do these whatever spot you would like. Same thing, we're gonna insert and go diagonal. And as many seeds as you want, as little seeds as you want, go ahead. I usually just kind of like to feel it out and feel like what needs more seeds, what needs less, all completely up to you. So when we hit the bottom here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert our hook and then we're just gonna go straight to the side here. So that kind of starts our next row of seeds, if you will. So we're gonna do that same thing and go side to side. And you're gonna kind of like stagger the seeds in a way that like you shouldn't really be able to tell like when one row starts and when it stops. So we're gonna try and make sure that we keep them nice and unique, nice and weird. 'Tis what we like, or at least what I like. If you wanna make them uniform, live your dreams. Me, I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to encourage you and possibly enable you to become obsessed with yarn in the way that I am. So same thing, that's all you're gonna do. So I'm gonna add some music right now and we can just kind of do this side by side. Okay, so this is what our pink strawberry should look like after putting in the seeds. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly the same because everybody has their own unique twist, and that's kind of the cool part here. So what you're going to do is, I have this thread that's still attached to my needle right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie a knot with the other thread that we started with. So my working end and my tail end, we're just gonna go ahead and knot them together. And I would just add on an extra one for security. And we're gonna just go ahead and just snip right about there. So you still wanna leave a decent amount of tail end, but since this is on the inside, I find it okay to leave a tail right here. Since there is no, like, if there was white, then we'd weave it into the other white. But since this white is so, you know, unevenly dispersed, it's really hard to weave your ends in. So we can just go ahead and put our little cannon right here. And this is our finished strawberry koozie. So this is our finished project right here. I am obsessed with this. It's taken me a couple of tries to get to this one, and I am so proud of it. If you want the tail to be a little bit less visible, you could always start it at the bottom as well. But once the can's in there, you can't really tell. Hope you guys like this tutorial. If you have any constructive criticism or feedback on either like the pattern itself or the Learn to Crochet kit, I would love to hear it just so I can keep improving for my next couple. This is the first one I'm putting out, but I have plans for many more just because this is so fun. And I've talked to some people at markets that just say that, you know, they really want to learn to crochet, and I want to make that possible for them. You can follow me online at Citizens Crochet on Instagram and TikTok. And also here you can hit that subscribe button as well to subscribe to this channel. I also sell finished crochet pieces. Those are all on my website at citizenscrochet.com. I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.